Okay, guys. So my name is Heidi with Opticom, and I've got a timer set here so that we do not extend past the 10-minute mark. So we like to keep these brief. This is our second session on basic training, and this one's just kind of how to recognize a camera opportunity and how to complete the camera sales opportunity. Um, so part of what we're going to do here is just talk really briefly about questions to ask and things just moving forward in order to get your foot in the door and talk about cameras. So first things first here, let's see. So how would you know that your customer is a potential camera buyer, right? So CCTV, we kind of talked about that last week, is closed circuit television, which means security cameras, surveillance cameras, anything along the lines of that. So how would we know our customer is a potential camera buyer? Number one, he may just flat out ask you, right? That would be obvious and wonderful, and that would just make everything in life really easy. Number two, he may be coming to your store or your branch or talking to you about coax or about Cat5 or Cat6 cable. So if anybody's buying coax, you 100% need to be like, hey, man, what are you doing, right? And then anybody buying Cat5 and Cat6, you should be asking them not only for the camera part of it, but anything else Datacom that you could potentially sell them. So Cat5 and Cat6 will run all the IP cameras. He may be ordering DNC connectors or crimping tools or other accessories that go to a camera system. So if you've got a customer that's ordering this kind of stuff or buying this kind of stuff, or you've seen him put cameras in, or you've been to their facility and they have cameras and they're not buying them from you, they're buying them somewhere. So these make these customers a potential camera customer for you. And then, of course, if you're at your branch and you've got a guy that walks in and stands and stares at a CCTV display that you could potentially have in your warehouse, then he may be interested in CCTV. So this is all pretty basic and pretty general. The main ones are going to be your cable is going to be a red flag for you if somebody's buying the different cables that would be used for a system. And then any accessories, BNC connectors, crimping tools, anything like that. Trying to think what else. Cables, connectors, power converters, small little wall wart power supply, things like that. So those are all things that if somebody's buying it, just ask the question, hey, what are you using this for? Oh, well, where are you getting your cameras from? Oh, are you happy with those cameras? And you kind of go from there. If you're in the industrial market and any of you have any industrial customers, those are the guys. When you have the industrial customer, when you walk in, and if they have cameras, you want to say to them, hey, how do you like your cameras? Because industrial facilities sometimes in some areas need very, very specialized cameras. So just because they've got a camera system and they seem happy with it, ask the question. So it's really important to find out who your potential camera buyer is. We know every mini storage, in the Northwest is going to put a camera system in. We know every gas station is going to have a camera system. So those guys are the obvious guys, but we really need to recognize the other guys that are probably buying and installing cameras that you just never even thought to ask. And they may very well not know that you have cameras, that you sell cameras, that you stock cameras. So it's really important that you just kind of get the word out. We've got banners here that are really obvious and say cameras on them. So if that's something you want for your branch or anything, you're welcome to contact myself or Hope. So these are just things to generate. So never be afraid to ask the question, right? Sales 101, right? Never be afraid to ask for the sale. So just ask the question, do you have cameras? Do you do anything with cameras? Then you don't want to box yourself into the security idea of security cameras, okay? So you've got, again, mini storages, gas stations, mini marts, anything like that. They all want, security, grocery stores. But you've got other applications out there in the world that are not security but need video just as well. So when you get into industrial markets, you've got, oil and gas, right? Petrochemical plants, grain elevators, grain terminals, sawmills, steel mills, anything like that, where these guys, they're not worried about security. They're worried about, watching the actual process. They're worried about troubleshooting whenever something happens on a whole conveyor and something gets jammed up. They want to see what happened, right? They want to be able to go back and go frame by frame and look at that. So don't box yourself into security. So if you go to a site that, say an industrial site, and they're saying, oh, well, maybe we need cameras, don't immediately be like, oh, we'll put them on the outside and we'll watch the gate and things like that. So you want to make sure you're thinking about other things, process monitoring, gauges and silos. Y'all actually did an advertisement, a magazine advertisement, I guess 3 or 4 years ago, maybe 5. And it was about somebody putting a camera on the gauge that they had in an industrial site so that the guy wouldn't have to drive back and forth all day to go check what the gauges are and the temperature range or anything in that kind of realm. Tops of silos, looking in, stuff like that, where it's just going to make somebody's job easier to go and spend however much it costs for them to put a camera there, and then they don't have to mess with going up and down those tiny little ladders on a silo every day. So things like that. So you don't want to box yourself into security only. There's a lot of different applications for cameras. Your Opticom sales representative, us, or your in-house Datacom specialist can help you build a system if you have a few of the details. So we're going to go through those details briefly, but call us, use us, say, hey, here's what they're trying to do, here's what it is, let's do this. Definitely use us. Your Datacom specialists are very excellent resources as well. They know a lot. If they get in a jam, they call us or they call somebody else. They're really, really good. So use us, use them. If you want to call me up and, hey, Heidi, let's chat with this guy. He's interested in cameras, but I don't know where to go from there. Then you know what? All three of us will get on a call and we'll work it out. So use the help that you have. So really basic questions to ask when you find out that, hey, this is a potential camera buyer, right? These are really simple. So you want to find out what the application is. So obviously if you're at a mini storage, then the guy wants cameras at his mini storage, right? If you're somewhere industrial, the guy wants to go that route, right? So find out what the application is so you know what type of cameras to put in. You don't want to sell somebody a very expensive industrial camera when all they need is a $100 bullet camera. So you want to make sure that you're aware of that. We need to figure out how many cameras they want, right? Do they want to cover every single door at their location? Or, hey, are they just looking for a general overview at the parking lot? Or do they want to watch, anything like that? So you need to figure out how many cameras they need and what's the lighting, right? If they're going outside, they're probably going to need infrared, right? But if they're putting cameras inside and that place is lit up all the time and every light is on, for instance, like an industrial site, they don't turn the lights off when they've got, multi-million-dollar machines running. Infrared is not nearly as important. So where will the recording device be housed? We need to know how we're going to get all these cameras and the cable ran all the way back to that unit. So you need to be aware of that. If they're putting a camera out in the middle of the parking lot, I doubt they're just going to run a cable, right? So they may need to go wireless. So these are the kind of things you need to know. Can we wire to all locations? Which brings me to the next point. Can you wire to all the locations? Again, these are things you need to know. When you talk to somebody about wireless, if it comes up, you want to make it very clear to them. Hey, to get good, dependable, reliable wireless, it does cost a lot of money. However, if you put the money out, it's going to work. You're not going to have any problems, but you want to be upfront with them. Like any other sale, you need to know what kind of budget you're working with. There's no point in quoting out a $20,000 system when the guy's looking for, a $4,000 system, right? So we need to know where we're at with that. New build, new system, or upgrading a system. That's really important with all the different technologies that are on the market right now. You really need to know, hey, is this a brand new build? Because that's going to tell you right then and right there what kind of camera system we need to put in, right? Is this a new system that's got existing cables? Then we know what we need to do there. If you're just upgrading a system, say it's an old analog camera system, like the old, where you record it and you turn it into the police, but nobody actually knows what the camera took pictures of, one of those kind of systems, and they just want to upgrade, we need to know that because we can use their existing cameras and still go with a high definition resolution. So those are the kind of things you need to know. If it's a new build, it's a no-brainer on the kind of system they're going to get. And then that would tell you if you're going to put an IP networking system or an HDTVI system with those new builds like that. And then secondly, if you're walking through this and they know where all the cameras, how are the cameras going to be mounted? Really simple. You just need to know, okay, all right, we're putting this outside. If it's going to be on a pole, we got to know it's on a pole, right? Because there's a special mount to make sure that that's going to work for them. Most cameras are pretty versatile as far as ceiling or wall mountable, but there's some areas where you're just going to need these answers. So again, this is really simple. A lot of times, I just did for one of your branches, I can't remember which one last week. I got on there with a customer. We got on Google Earth, pulled up his whole facility, and we did a whole layout, right? So no big deal. So a lot of times I can help, Hope can help, anybody else can help. And again, your Datacom specialist can help as well. So that is a really very fast, I speak quickly, I apologize, version of a basic CCTV training. And my 9 minutes is up. Let me turn my timer off. So I will send, what we'll do is we'll send this PowerPoint out because of the questions that are on here. That way you can kind of hang on to them, reference them, print them out, maybe put them on your computer in your pocket, whatever, who cares, right? But just so you know, a few of the things to ask. And remember, guys, you got to be fearless when you get out there. I know you don't really maybe know anything about cameras or enough about cameras or feel confident to talk about cameras, but you've got to be confident enough to just bring it up and at least ask, because you've got a ton of people that can help you take it from there and help you get the sale and close the deal. So just make sure that you're aware of what's out there. Don't box yourself into just security and move forward that way. So if anybody has any questions, you're always welcome to give us a call, shoot us an email, whatever you want to do, write us a letter, whatever's good. So otherwise, have yourself a wonderful day. We have kept it under 10 minutes as promised, and we hope to hear from all of you soon. Thanks so much.